So my name is Alan Cantor. I'm a physician scientist at Boston Children's Hospital and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. I do both some clinical care and pediatric hematology oncology, the majority of my time doing research. And I have a focus on how blood cells normally develop, but importantly, how dysregulation of these processes leads to leukemia and how some genetic disorders predispose to leukemia. And I have a major interest in the role of RUNX1 in this. And this really came about from my other studies of transcription factors in blood cell development, and these transcription factors are proteins that turn on and turn off other genes during this process and play critical roles. And that's where those studies and my experience seeing patients in the clinic really led me to this important disorder. So a major project in my lab, or a focus in this disorder, is again trying to find drugs that we can use to help prevent development of leukemia. And so many people know that we get two genes, one from each of our parents, and in RUNX1 FPD, it's one of those two copies is defective, but there's still one good copy. And a lot of this disorder is you just have 50% of what the normal amounts you should have of this gene. And so an approach we've been taking is to see if we can find drugs that boost the activity of the residual good copy, the wild type copy, try to compensate or partially compensate for the loss of the other gene. And this may be enough to reduce the risk of developing leukemia and affect some of the other aspects of the disorder, such as the bleeding, the inflammation, eczema, things like that. And there's one particular one we've been focusing on called imatinib. It goes by the brand name Gleevec. It's been around for quite a while. It was FDA approved in around 2000, so almost 25 years ago, for the treatment of something called chronic myelogenous leukemia. And it's a drug that patients have been taking, some patients have taken it for decades at a time, which of course would be important for RUNX1 FPD, because we imagine with this kind of an approach, when we need to take these medications for long periods of time. And so based on that work, we've actually initiated one of the first clinical trials for RUNX1 FPD, ways to support this kind of research, not only funding, but also it's really important participation in the research that's going on in this. Obviously, from my experience with some of these early phase clinical trials, it's obviously really important to have patients that are interested in participating in these. Obviously, it's the only way we're going to really move forward. It's really important if there's good rationale and good safety profiles for some of these proposed treatments, that it's really important to start looking at them in patients. A lot of the model systems can be very helpful, but none of them completely capture what happens in a human patient. I think there is a lot of hope. There's an awful lot of activity. The RRP is doing an amazing job supporting some of this research, creating a research community. I know I do a lot of collaborations with people I've met through the RRP, and there's a lot of new technology being developed. So I think this is a solvable problem, and there's a lot of activity going on in this area.